All right, we are back up and live again.
Don't know what just happened, but everything just shut down and we had to restart. So here we are restarting. Um, kind of threw us for a loop a little bit here, but getting back into the draft, it is tonight. Here in about an hour, we'll have the first pick. So, Casey, going back to you really quick, as far as the move up or stay put or whatever, what are your thoughts on that?
If it's for Brian Thomas, I guess the highest I would be comfortable moving up is 20. Other than that, like pretty much past 20, we're going to start getting up more than I'd like. Um, if the board just doesn't fall our way, I'm team trade back and gain some extra day two picks, and then maybe even consider using one of the like our second round pick next year and packaging with some of the later round picks that we have this year and moving back up into the second again and double and maybe getting three picks in the second round and then a third and one in the third and coming away with two wide receivers and a safety and a defensive lineman. So it's Brian Thomas
Yeah,
Jr. or that scenario. That either one of those.
yeah,
Hmm.
I Man, you guys know how I feel about Lad McConkey. I would love, love, love to have him on this roster. But the more I think about it, like I said before everything went haywire on the show, I do think that the Bills are going to be moving up, and I think the target is Brian Thomas Jr., and I'd be
Hmm.
okay with that. What would be really cool is if that happens, and then they move up in the second round and still get McConkey. I think that would be pretty sweet. However, if that happens, I think that might have an effect on my prediction that Khalil Shakir gets 100 receptions. I think that could put a little damper on that.
Yeah.
But
100%.
yeah. But since bringing that up, I do want to talk about that really quick before we get into our mock draft, our final mock draft of the year. Um, I looked at the numbers. There's 308 vacated targets between the receivers whose name we will not mention. Gabe Davis, Sherfield, Hardy, the running backs. What's his face? My
Cook.
Latavius.
gosh,
Latavius.
Latavius Murray.
Yeah.
So 308 targets. Uh, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Khalil gets at least maybe a third of those. If you think a rookie, well, I don't care who it is, unless it was one of those top three, is going to come in here and get
Hmm.
150 to 200 targets, that ain't going to happen.
Right.
So I don't think it's too crazy to say that he could get his 100 receptions this year.
Hmm. And why wouldn't the Bills build off what they have with Shakir so far? I mean, he's been
Yeah,
phenomenal in the plays that he's made, and his catching
yeah, he
percentage is
has.
is like way up, right?
It's number one in
Yeah,
the
his catch
country.
rate
Yeah.
last year, yeah, it was number one in the league. I believe it was 87%. I just kind of threw some numbers together this morning. Even if he only caught 70% of the passes thrown his way, he could get 100 with 143 targets. That's a lot of targets. There were, I think, 22 other receivers that had that many or more. No, wait, let me back that up. If he catches 80, I think it was 80% of his passes, it's 123 targets. There were 22 receivers that had more than 122 targets last year. So again, I think it could happen unless we draft like a Puka Nakua who comes out of nowhere. Maybe I could see that, but um, yeah, that's where I'm at with that. Casey, let me ask you this, because one of the things that a lot of people kind of push back on me with this prediction is they believe that Allen and this offense is going to spread the ball around way more than they have in the past, which I think to an extent they will, because they're not going to force feed that other guy anymore. But do you think that anybody on this roster, because with the numbers I'm seeing and hearing, a lot of people are saying nobody's going to get more than maybe 70 to 80 receptions on this offense. Is that kind of what you see, or do you think there could be one of these guys that has close to 100 or more?
I'd say there'd probably be somebody closer to 90, high 80s, maybe low 90s. 100 targets. I mean, 100 receptions. That's a lot.
It's about six a
It's
game.
yeah. I mean that's a lot. I mean, and that's a what you would call a number one wide receiver. You know, target and catches like for a game. Again, I go back to I don't want to force it onto Khalil Shakir. if he is truly dominating and he's getting open and like that's why he's getting the ball, then please, by all means, get him that football. But like, I don't want it to be another Gabe Davis situation to where he's thrust
Yeah.
into that position and we're force feeding him like Diggs. But I think it's going to be, Kincaid's going to have around 70, 75. Shakir, I would put him at the high 80s, low 90s, probably right around 1,000 yards. And then, James Cook, you can't forget about him. He's going to have plenty of catches this year, and Curtis Samuel as well. And then the rookie, 40 catches, 50, maybe 50 catches, depending on how much they're really trying to lean on him. And if they wait until the second round, like late second round, yeah, he's going to be the 30, 40 catch guy. But if it's Rome Odunze, they trade up with the Bears at 9. I would bet he'd be pushing Khalil Shakir for the the quote unquote number one targets, because you don't draft somebody at number 9, like give up everything you have to give up at number 9, and then not,
that's a fair
focus your
point.
offense around him. So it would be hard. It would be hard. So I would expect more of like the spread out.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, what's the likelihood, if you had to put a percentage on it, the Bills jumping up that high? One, what's the likelihood of it? And two, would you be in favor of that, given what it would cost to do that?
I'd give it 2%, and no, I
pretty
would,
low.
and no, I wouldn't, because it would probably mean 1 this year or 1 next year, probably both 2s. Like, to move up that far, I mean, 19
That's a big
spots,
jump.
that's a lot. I mean, and it's not even just a big jump for us. That's a big fallback for the Bears.
Yeah,
now
you're talking about
3,
3-4 picks easily.
That they would have, the ammunition to move back up if there was somebody that started slipping a little bit, and they could just grab them. Maybe someone like a Xavier Worthy, and so it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. Because yes, we get a stud wide receiver, a hopeful stud wide receiver, but at the same time, it's like now we don't have a first this year. I mean, our second this year or a third, and we don't have a first next year or probably both of our seconds. So we have 1 pick in 4 rounds, between this year and next year. Like I don't like those odds on like putting all your eggs in one basket.
I agree, especially considering the depth or lack thereof on this roster this coming season, because I think the starters are for the most part penciled in. I could see maybe a couple of rookies coming in and pushing for some starting time, but for the most part, I think the roster is set as far as the starters go. So they've got to fill these backup positions with rookies and depend on them. So they need the picks this year. They're going to need the picks next year. After that, we'll see where we are. But I think, I mean, we've said this before. As long as we got Josh Allen under center, though, we'll always have a shot no matter what. But let's jump into our mock draft. But before we do that, let's hear from our sponsors.
Hey, it's John from Game On Sports Memorabilia. Check out our huge selection of unopened wax boxes of Pokemon cards. You have to see our selection of over 2 million sports cards in stock, plus hard-to-find card supplies. And if you have anything to sell, bring it in. We can help you determine the true value before you sell it. We pay fair market value every day. It's Game On Sports Memorabilia, 2670 Dewey Avenue in Greece. Check out our podcast for news and information on the card and collectible universe. Also, check out our Facebook page.
For more, call 481-2153. That's 481-2153.
That's the folks over at Game On Sports. Fantastic fantastic memorabilia they have over their cards. You name it, they've got it. We're going to jump into this little draft here. We're using Pro Football Focus to do this. I've already kind of got it ready, and let me just throw it up here on the screen so everybody can see what's going on. All right. So do we kind of want to slow it down and see what happens, or do we want to just go balls to the wall and pick who we get at 28?
Just do it 1 up from the slowest. That's what I've been doing, and it moves.
Okay.
Not
all right.
too
Let's
bad.
see how this falls. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Caleb Williams to Chicago, and there it is. Caleb Williams, Chicago. Drake May, McCarthy. There goes Neighbors, Adunze, and Harrison. Well, there goes all the receivers. We're done. That's it. Moving on.
Except for one. Or maybe two.
Let me know when Brian.
Would you
if
guys?
Brian Thomas Jr. is at 20, pause it.
Yeah. Are you guys fine with like Leggett or Mitchell at 28?
I'd rather move up to 20 and draft Thomas.
Yeah, well, 20 was taken, so Tyler Guyton went to the tackle, went to Pittsburgh at 20. So right now the Dolphins are on the clock at 21. Now in a real life scenario, the Dolphins are not trading this.
Correct.
So do we want to try it here or go one more pick and see what happens?
I'd say go one more pick.
Okay. And there he goes, Brian Thomas.
There
There
it
it
is. There
Son
it
of
is.
a-
It's always
Wow.
like your rival, right? It's always like the
I know.
Dolphins or the Chiefs.
Yeah.
They're
see,
going to take the. So that's.
I mean,
who
I don't
you-
know.
That's a spot you want. But why
And
would
this
the
is what's happened
Steelers
to
have
me.
taken him?
This is what's happened every single time that I've tried to do a trade up for Brian Thomas Jr. is he always goes one spot around this spot, actually. It's either 20 or 21 every single time. I think if the Bills want him tonight, they're going to have to get up to at least 18 or 19 to do it. Maybe even higher than that. Like, who knows?
Mhm.
It only takes one team to really kind of be sold on him. And if you look at some of these teams, 19, we got the Rams. Unlikely they go with a wide receiver. Before that, you got Cincinnati, who they've already lost Tyler Boyd probably. He's still a free agent, but T. Higgins wants to be traded. I could see Cincinnati saying, okay, well, let's get Brian Thomas here,
Right.
and then we'll ship Higgins out.
Mm-hmm.
At 17, you got Jacksonville. They've got a decent receiving core. Well, actually, now that I think about it, who is the receiver that they have there? Ridley. He's a free agent, I believe.
He signed with the Texans, so they have Gabe, but they have Gabe and Christian Kirk. So I don't
Signed with
really
the Texans?
with the Titans. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. And then you got Seattle at 16. So yeah, I think you got to get up to 19, around there, 18, 19, if you want to get Thomas. So
Now it's not
where
worth
we're
it,
at
right?
now.
Yeah, now let her run.
Is he worth going up to 18 or 19? It's hard to say.
Probably,
It just
yeah.
depends on the cost.
I mean,
it depends on the cost, though.
Right.
It's not worth risking it to get the 23rd pick, I think. You know?
No, at this
the
point, no. I think
21st,
we just let it go.
learned that, maybe 21 was, and that's just our luck, and that's the way it would go, right? If it was anything 21 or after. And the Steelers very well could have taken a receiver with that pick right ahead of the Dolphins. So to make it worth it, you have to get up that high.
Yeah, I think.
Now I'm very
right. Adonai Mitchell just went at pick number 27 to the Cardinals, and we all know how in love with Mitchell that Mike is.
That's my
my
pick.
draft. It is.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like my replacement for Gabe Davis, I've been saying over the past couple of shows. And he's a guy very obtainable at that spot. But now I start looking further. Was it John or who was just commenting? Roy talking about he's hoping to get away with Leggett right here, and I think he's talking first round. Yeah. So he says right here he should be there at 28. And now that a receiver that I liked is gone, Legett's also a guy that I was looking at for a while. Just sheer physicality. The traits that he has, things like that.
Yeah, he definitely has the traits for sure. I don't know what to think of Leggett though, as far as the draft boards go, because I've seen him anywhere from the first round even into the third round. So just based on what we've got here, it's hard for me to take him at this point. In the real world, is that more of a possibility? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how the league or the other teams view him. But some of the other options that we have, of course, at pick 28 right now, Troy Franklin, Ladd McConkey, Keon Coleman, or...
I know you're probably good with any of those three.
This is trade down.
But I almost feel like, we're at the point where we could almost trade down maybe just a few spots right now, early second.
We could. Here's my vote right here, though. Jerson Newton is available.
Yeah,
Pro Football
rank 11.
Focus has him ranked as the 11th prospect in
Okay.
this draft. I think it's a position of need, and clearly he's the best available. So kind of get both of those out of the way right there with that one. What do you think, Casey?
I think with how deep this defensive line draft is, you've got your guy Christian Boyd late in the 5th. There's Ruka Horo in the 2nd round. There's to me, there's a bunch of guys to where you don't necessarily have to take Newton here. I mean, we did, it wouldn't be I wouldn't cry at all. I would still be more team trade back, gain that 3rd, and then take the wide receiver, the defensive line in the 2nd round. And then someone like a Cam, and then maybe, like I mentioned earlier, using one of those 2nd round picks next year and some of the late round picks this year, moving back up and moving into the 2nd above 60 and grabbing somebody else while still having pick 60 and a 3rd.
Yeah, and we'll definitely take a look here because there is a trade option here. Before we do that, let me ask you about this guy here, Kool-Aid McKinstry. If he is there at 28, we know how the Bills love their defensive backs, and it is a little bit of a need. I don't think a lot of people realize outside of Rasul Douglas and Christian Benford, we don't know what we have. We think maybe Ingram could be okay. We think maybe Kyer Elam could figure it out, or maybe he doesn't. So after those 2 boundary corners, there's a lot of question marks. Is Kool-Aid somebody you would consider right here?
Not in the 1st round. Not a corner in the 1st round.
I feel like he almost could have been picked already.
Well, Pro Football Focus has him as a 26th, so it's very possible that he could be here. Most mocks I've seen, he's going well before this, so I don't know that he would fall this far. But let's see what we have here in terms of trade.
I just want to throw out there Jerson Newton. He's 6'2", 295 from Illinois, and he has an increasing amount of sacks in each of the last 4 seasons. So that's very encouraging to see. He's 6'2", 295 listed at here on ESPN, and he's had 1.5 sacks, 3.5, 5.5, 7.5. So I think he wants more.
Gradually climbing up.
Yeah.
I think he fits more of the Ed Oliver role, and I kind of agree with what Casey was saying that they're okay. Newton, obviously, the talent is one of the more talented defensive tackles, but I don't think he fits that more of the need that Buffalo's looking for, because Ed Oliver has that spot locked up. It's the one tech I think that we're really kind of missing outside of Daquan Jones.
Right.
So I think that's kind of where they need to look. The Cardinals are offering pick 35. Now at 35,
you could
it is
get a 3rd.
possible.
35 and 66.
So if we give them, your team owner will veto. Oops, there we go. Okay.
Yeah.
So the 35 and 66, we would have to give up, let's say,
take 90. Yeah, it's pretty.
We're already looking at getting 35 and 66.
Yeah, I think we could do that right there.
All right. So what we got here on the screen is a 28, 128, and 200 for the Cardinals 35 and 66 with it looks like a 57% chance. You guys want to try it, or should we sweeten the pot a little bit with another pick?
I don't think we need to sweeten the pot. I think they'll easily take this trade.
I agree. Right. I'll be right back. I need to I need to grab a charger. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll try to work this.
They said no. Yeah, we're gonna try to make this trade happen. Yeah. Okay, so they said no on that.
I'm just kind of surprised. Does that show that deep this far down? Does it really matter if you're moving 5 spots or 6, 7 spots?
Well, apparently to them it does, which would indicate that they probably have somebody in mind there. I don't want to give up our 60 though. So if we give up, let's say the 166, and then try that. There we go. All right, so we got that deal done. All right, so now we can resume, and let's see if McConkey. There goes Worthy. There goes McKinstry and McConkey once again.
There you go. Our
He-
rivals. They take our players, and
Look at
then we
this.
miss
Okay.
on one.
Well, yeah. So McConkey goes to the Chiefs at 32, which we did not want to happen. Leggett goes to the Patriots, another rival, at 34, which we did not want to happen. And
This is how you know what
Jer'Zhan
guys
Newton's-
we want to grab, because you know which ones hurt that we miss on.
Yeah.
These are the guys we are looking at tonight.
Yeah.
Now
And
is
if
the
we're
We
gonna
time.
are
go,
just missing on them right now, last minute mock draft.
Now is the time we can go Troy, Franklin, or Newton. Either one, I'm perfectly okay with.
what do you think, Mike?
Xavier Worthy went a while ago, right?
Yeah.
What do we
Well,
got?
not a
What do we
while
got
ago.
for?
He went
Yeah, in early 28. Okay, where we would have been originally.
right.
But what do we have left for receivers? I'd just like to see real quick. But I'm probably not. I'd probably go Troy Franklin here.
Yeah, if we want to get a receiver early, we have to do it now because I don't think any of these guys would be available.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Jalen Polk, who could be gone by the time we get to 60, like all of these guys.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah, my vote is probably for Franklin or Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
Franklin.
All right. So our future star receiver is going to be Troy Franklin.
We
got
suck
him
at
with
this
35th pick.
already.
We do.
Hey, you know what I just saw?
We've done 3 of these now, and it's the same thing.
Yeah, someone who I've seen the experts mocking to the Bills is Chop Robinson. I know you're not a big fan, Ronnie, but I just saw him go right after we picked.
Yeah, I understand that there's people with him. He has the traits, I guess, and this and that or whatever, but he doesn't have any production. Like I think the most sacks he's produced in a season is like 4, 5.
Yeah,
and that kind of worries me a little bit because Casey has mentioned this. If you're a sack producer in college, most often that translates into the NFL and vice versa.
makes sense.
He worries me. I'm concerned with who was the other guy that Buffalo drafted way back in the day? Aaron Maben. Oh my gosh, everybody's so high on him. He's so fast. He's the next great pass rusher. Nothing. Nothing at all.
So seeing Javon Bullard go right before us makes me think safety here. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, let's scroll.
Chris Braswell would have been a good one.
Let's see who's out here.
Okay, so right now we got a tight end, corner, TJ Tampa out of Iowa State. Jaden Hicks is the safety from Washington State. If we want to go safety, that's the best option. We could go edge again or go edge with Jonah Ellis. Let's see. Offensive lineman, Malachi Corley.
I would be team.
Yeah, we have another one coming.
I'd be team Ellis right now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but what about Marshawn Neal? Maybe he falls to us at 66, and then we can get the safety here. Or are you more thinking
Cam Kitchens is definitely going to be there in 6 picks. I promise you that.
Yeah. Yeah, he will. Okay.
All
right, Jonah Ellis it is.
Let's go.
And there goes Jaden Hicks, TJ Tampa, Christian Haynes. And we're back up. And Nealon is still there. Okay. So we are now at pick 66 after our trade in the first round to fall back. What are we looking at, guys? We got Ruke Aroro. Casey, you say that. You're way better at it.
Horo.
What does the listeners say? Anybody got any thoughts out there? Do we want to go defensive interior at this point?
I would say either Rook or Kitchens, and I know Kitchens is a reach here, like especially like according to PFF. I think it because we don't have a third, so I think it's still like it's again still being a need. We can solidify a real a need that like right now, like somebody that will step in right now and play defensive line. It's still again it's going back to what I said earlier about Newton. It's still a deeper draft at interior defensive line. We can get some guys a little bit later. I just think Cam Kitchens is going to be an absolute difference maker in the NFL.
Yeah, that's a massive reach according
It
to Pro
is.
Football Focus.
But again, we don't have a third, which is why I would want it now.
Yeah.
Is Kalen Bullock on that list? I didn't see.
He is.
Yeah, he's right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he is at the top. Okay. That's just another
All
one
right,
I've
well-
had my eye on as far as
Yeah.
safety. In
We'll
this
go with
range.
Kitchens on this one. I
Mhm.
think because the last few times we've done this, Casey has pounded the table for Kitchens, and I don't think we've gotten him yet. So
Right.
let's grab
don't
him
wanna
here and
miss
see what
on him.
happens. Yeah,
Mhm.
It'll be a terrible grade, but it's more like this is
Yeah.
more so like a realistic pick.
Yeah.
He still might not be taken until the third round in real life, but like still, like at this point in time for us is like what we need.
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
want to point out here, our listener Roy, he's real hell bent on Leggett there in the first round. And I'm not saying he's wrong.
and that could be the pick too. It could. I just don't know if they need to take him at 28 though.
Tanner Bortolini.
And another defensive interior. I'm looking for the bigger guys that fill that.
Keep
All
scrolling.
these guys
Mason
are
Smith is
small.
down just a little bit more.
Is Leonard
Yeah,
Taylor
he's in
around
here.
there?
Mason Smith.
Mason Smith, Christian Boyd, a couple of guys we can get later on. We got our edge, so there's Muhammad Kamara, which wouldn't be a bad idea.
I like Leonard
But-
Taylor too.
I like Bortolini.
I was gonna say I'm kind of leaning towards the center because we need that depth too, and potential future starter.
Well, and we've got like a handful of picks coming up like recently, like soon. So because we have like
Yeah.
28, 33, and then like two more picks, and then like two more picks or three more before the 200s. So I would say Bortolini.
If Leonard
Mike?
Taylor's there at 144, please pick him. But
Yeah,
I'd take Leonard Taylor
absolutely.
right here.
Where's Taylor right now?
Right
he is.
there.
At one or so, yeah, rank 141.
Mm-hmm. He's someone I've been watching
He's
for
a
a
little
while.
bit bigger. A little bit bigger.
He might be able to get it done in there.
We've talked about Taylor before too. He's another one of those that's kind of bounced around the mock drafts, anywhere from when the draft season first kind of started kicking off, I was seeing Taylor in the first round in a lot of mocks. Now, for whatever reason, he's dropped back. I don't know why, but here he is at 141. Average draft position in mocks 136.
Let's not
I
forget
think you
Mason
could risk
Smith. Before Mason Smith got hurt, he was a top 15 projected pick in this league.
Yeah.
So like that's also like value. That was the Jets drafting Elijah Vera Tucker after blowing out his knee at the combine. That edge that the Ravens took, that coming out of college, I think. Ojulari, Azeez Ojulari. He tore his ACL, but he was hands down a first round pick, and then he got hurt and he slid. So I think it's another one of those that it's there. It's just you're hoping that he can come back to be the player he was projecting to be.
When he could, and Mason Smith fits more of that one tech guy that I'm personally looking for, as does Christian Boyd. I would be fine doubling up with both those guys, to be honest. I don't mind Ed Oliver at all. I think he's a great player. He fits the style that Brandon Beane and this defense runs.
Yeah.
But I remember the days, and I've mentioned this before. I remember the days of Ted Washington and Pat Pooh Bear Williams and
Sam Adams.
Sam Adams.
Yeah.
Those guys were as monsters, almost 700 pounds of meat in the middle of that defense, and nobody could run the ball on them. And with those guys in there, there was the number one defense back in 1999 with them. So I'm all about the big dudes in the middle. Clog up the middle of that defense all day. But let's move forward. So Tanner's the pick here. All right.
Go with it.
That's a lot of defensive line to take a center.
There they go.
Oh, man.
There they go.
Luke McCaffrey went. That's a little surprising.
Leonard Taylor went. I saw. too. So
Did Mason Smith go?
I
Leonard
think
T-
so.
yep.
Yep, there he is.
All right. All right. Let's scroll a little bit. Who's there at wide receiver?
Well, Luke McCaffrey is gone. We got Isaiah Williams, Cornelius Johnson, Jaquan Jackson from Tulane, Jalen Coker.
Jalen Coker. Nice. He's nice.
I also look at more. There might be more edge defenders. Is like Jalix Hunt still around?
Yeah, he's somebody we
Man, there's not.
You can usually get a little later.
Right.
This draft is not falling right.
No.
Good thing we're not GMs.
Right.
Well, here's the thing. You know, even though we're not getting the exact picks we want, we have seen multiple players go just the pick before us or a few picks before us to our rival teams. So you know, we're still focusing on those guys. You know, those are the names that we're really looking for. We're sort of settling here and working with what we got.
Yeah.
We took some risks here because we wanted to see a little more quantity. But it's not saying these guys won't work out either.
Well, no. I mean, the draft is a crapshoot for all of these players. So where do we want to go here? Theo Johnson, tight end. He's the best player available. Obviously, I don't think that we go that direction. We could go with tackle. I do think, again, that's a little bit of a potential need only for depth purposes. And who knows, maybe long-term as well. We have the wide receiver, Isaiah Williams, Will Shipley here.
I don't hate Shipley there.
We don't need another Shipley.
I know.
We've got 2 Shipleys.
I'm all about flexibility. I don't care if the guy's 250 pounds or not. If we got 3 guys that they can play anywhere on the field, I'm fine with that. But I don't see the Bills eyeing anybody like a Will Shipley. I think the Bills, if they did go running back, it probably would be a bigger, more the power back.
Someone like Braylon Allen.
Yeah. We could take a shot at another wide receiver, Cornelius Johnson. 6'3", 208. He's got good size. If you're looking for some more physicality in the receiving room, I believe there was a safety here somewhere. Malik Mustafa.
Keep scrolling for me, would you?
Yeah, would you please?
Got corner Miles Harden, DJ James corner, another tackle on Christian Jones from Texas.
Christian Jones is somebody I'm very interested in.
All right. Or we want to go that way? Because, we've already reached for players. We've missed on guys we didn't go for.
I'm totally fine with it.
Take it.
All right. It's done. Christian Jones, tackle.
Now, next we take Christian Boyd.
Roy says we're all fired. And I agree. We're just going to fire ourselves right now.
Unemployment doesn't pay too bad.
You got to hire us first.
It's true. All right, we're going to pick 160 now. We've got 2 tight ends.
Straight to Christian Boyd.
Zach Center, if we didn't take so many offensive linemen already.
We only took 2.
I know.
Yeah, we took 2. Edge, Nelson, Caesar.
Is Wiley around at tight end? He probably went early. There's Steel Chambers.
See, let me go find him because...
Just go to defensive tackles, dummy.
Jeez, yeah, I am. I'm going to. I didn't realize he's quite that far down, but I knew he was going to be far down, and that's what I wanted to talk about as soon as I find him. Come on. There it goes.
You can do it.
Defensive interior, McKinley Jackson from Texas A&M, Gabe Hall, Miles Murphy. There he is, Christian Boyd. So let me just talk about this really quick. We're going to take him here. But because our next pick is 200. But Pro Football Focus has this guy rated 220. I've done a lot of reading from different scouting reports on this guy. There's a lot of teams, from what I've read. Again, this is the year or the season of smokescreen, so who knows? But there are teams that are high on this kid. He's got the motor. He's got the size. He's got a lot of things to like about him. He's 6'4", 317 pounds. And they have him ranked 220. I don't see any world, even if we're talking about the Marvel multiverse, where this guy falls all the way down to the 220. I just don't see that. I mean, we're looking at round 5. I think that's where he goes. He could even go as high as 4th round.
Snag him.
All right, we got Christian Boyd. There's our future one tech.
Now is when we set another wide receiver and a running back, and then whatever the heck we want at 248.
Whatever's left.
Pretty much.
Okay, so let's see what we've got at wide receiver.
I also want to see what we have at tight end.
Why? We don't need a tight end. We have 3 of them.
I know.
Right.
I just want
And
to see.
Reggie Gilliam.
I just want to see.
All right, so wide receivers.
Mike
Casey Washington
79.
is currently the highest. Joshua Cephas, I've actually heard a little bit about.
Mm-hmm.
Bub Means, that's an interesting name.
Go Bubba.
Lidetrick Griffin, David White Jr., Zachary Franklin, Hayden Hatton, and that's it. And then we're getting into 300s at this point.
Now's when you go to the cool names and you take Bub Means.
All right, we're terrible at this. Bub Means it is.
It's definitely.
Come on.
All right,
You had to look
running
at
back?
tight ends for me. I had a guy.
Okay, I'll go to tight ends really quick. What do we got?
Nobody. I don't
Nobody.
know. A little bit.
Yeah.
I just want to see.
Hey, we could go with Trey Knox. Why not?
Right.
And then
Yeah.
we got a Trey Knox, a Dawson Knox, and a Dalton King. Man, that would get so confusing. All right, we're not doing that.
That's too much. Never mind.
Look what you
All right, we
did,
got 2
though.
picks left, guys.
Yeah.
All right, running back. Check running back, and if not, take Torrey Taylor. Oh, take Joe Milton. Take Joe Milton. Take Joe Milton.
I
knew
might
you
have
were-
taken Zachary Franklin with that last one. I mean, he had 15 touchdowns 2 years ago.
with the 200 pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be okay with that too. So we're at 204. Casey wants Joe Milton the third. We've kind of talked a little bit about
Mhm.
the Bills getting a quarterback, and we're going to do this just because I agree. But I am all about let's just get a rookie quarterback who can learn the offense, learn from Josh Allen. You have the quarterback room locked up for the next 4 seasons. And maybe this guy goes out and he does play well in the preseason, well enough that maybe you can trade him and flip him for a 4th round pick or even higher. It's been done in the past before. Not a lot, obviously, but
The Patriots did it twice. They did it twice.
Well, that's true. That is very true. They did it with Garoppolo and then Castle.
Okay, so
the other
3
one
times.
was Matt
Jacoby
Schaub.
Brissett. They did it with Jacoby
Yeah.
Brissett,
So
too.
yeah, we're going with Joe Milton, and I know probably about 93% of Bills Mafia is mocking us right now for that pick. Because the last time we did this, we got laughed out of social media. But I mean, it's true. But look, I want to lock up that room. I'm tired of the revolving door because, God forbid, something happened to Josh Allen. If it happened this year in 2024, we'd be hosed.
Yeah.
But think about years after that. If you've got a guy that's been in the system now for a year or two, no, he's not going to be a Josh Allen because there is no Josh Allen other than Josh Allen. But I think that at least he would know the offense, he would know the players, he would have that chemistry and timing. It just makes more sense than constantly bringing in a new veteran journeyman every single year who has to try to learn the offense, who has to try to learn that chemistry and timing. So I'm all about a rookie quarterback.
Well, it also helps that Joe Milton is like the closest thing as a quarterback prospect, physicality-wise, to Josh Allen that's come out since. So, he's a guy that, I'm not saying obviously nobody is Josh Allen, but he's a guy that he can throw the ball 70 yards, on a rope. So, worst comes to worst, he can just do what Josh did his rookie year and pray Robert Foster's down there somewhere. It's just one of those things. Like, I'd rather have somebody with the abilities. Maybe he's not the most accurate, he's not the most polished or refined, but at least he has the natural ability to play the position.
Yeah, and that is a good point because they wouldn't have to change the offense at all. They could run the same offense, the same plays, and it would be fine. So yeah, we went with Joe Milton there. We are at our final pick, which is number 248. really close to Mr. Irrelevant, but not quite. And we got some more offensive linemen, another quarterback, another kicker, a couple of kickers. There's a corner. We wanted
Ryan
to go that
Watts.
route with Ryan Watts.
I would be very happy with that.
Just pick him.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
losing
kind of
me
leaning
here.
with.
I haven't
Yeah.
I haven't dug quite this far.
Okay, so that's
seeing
where we're
that
going to
name
go.
there, seeing that name
Which
come
one?
up this late, Watts,
Oh yeah.
say go ahead and pick him.
All right. Let's watch this because
We're-
PFF, I'm
this is
pretty sure, is
gonna
going to
be-
laugh us out of the studio.
That's all
Right.
good.
Oh my God! They even said we earned rewards. We're Mr.
All right, what do we?
Irrelevant.
Okay, they gave us crap for Cameron Kitchens. Said we should have drafted Edrin Cooper, which
Who cares?
kind of expected this. We got an A for Troy Franklin, a B, a D minus for Kitchens. That's all you, Casey.
Yep, he's eating that one.
That's
Big
all you,
fat F for
Ronnie.
Christian Boyd. Hey, I'll take that all day.
Maybe next time you guys will listen to me and Roy.
Well, I think,
never.
like I said, with Christian Boyd, I don't think he lasts. I don't even think he makes it to 160. Honestly, I really don't. I think he's somebody that's on a lot of teams' radar. So I don't think he makes it this far. Joe Milton, how do you give a C, honestly, for anything after 200?
Pretty much, right? Like,
Yeah, I know it's kind of a free for all down there.
Yeah, but we got an A minus for Ryan Watts.
AJ
Overall, we got a
Brown.
B.
Breaking news: AJ Brown, Pro Bowl receiver, reaches a 3-year, $96 million extension with the Eagles. So they just paid both of their wide receivers. So they're showing the NFL like it can be done.
Lock him up.
Yeah, I don't know. They're gonna have to pay it for somewhere else, though. Maybe
And
right
they-
now they can.
And
I'm
they
sure it's
paid
backloaded.
Jalen Hurts. They also
I'm not
paid
worried
Jalen
about their
Hurts.
situation.
Yeah, well, I'd be willing to bet you that contract is probably going to be backloaded.
Oh yeah, for sure. But the fact that
Like
it's
the
only
cap hit this
3
year is probably
years.
minimal.
Yeah, but
How
it's going to be
how many
interesting
years did he
see
have left
those-
to begin with?
Probably 1 or 2.
Because I just generally when you get an extension, you take that and you spread it out over. So I'm sure it's probably a cap savings initially,
He probably
and
had
then they'll have to.
well because he signed an extension when he got traded to Philly. So that was what
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 years ago. So that's a
2 years ago, I believe.
So that's a 4-year extension. So yeah, this would put him at a total of 5. They just spread it out 5 years.
So there's a live update for you.
Yeah, so it's what? Probably around $20 million a year. Well, that's what it's going to average out to. I doubt that's how much it actually
Probably
is
just
per year.
over
But
what Amon Ra got. It's probably just a hair
Yeah.
over.
let me. Okay, you brought that up. Let me ask you guys because when I saw that he became the highest paid wide receiver, he's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but is he the best receiver in football right now?
Hard to say.
That's just. I don't think he's the best receiver in football. I mean, that's Justin Jefferson in my opinion. But I mean, he is the catalyst to that team. He is what makes that team tick. You know, they would not be half the team they are without him. You know, the portal wouldn't get open as nearly as much. You know, that running game wouldn't flourish as much. So
Yeah.
it's deserved. Yeah, I mean, you're worth whatever someone's willing to pay you. But every contract for any halfway decent player at their position is just about ready to break the bank and set the new record. So I don't
Yeah.
really think too much of that anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
hell, Deshaun Watson was the number one paid quarterback for the longest time. Like, and we see just
that
how
is
good he
true.
is.
That's true. It kind of makes me think about, all this talk that I've been spewing the last month or so about Khalil Shakir. And people people want to mock me for it. They're like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But think about it like this. Before Jerry Rice was Jerry Rice, nobody knew. Before Devontae Adams was who he is now, nobody knew. Like there's always that point in every single player's career where there's doubt. I mean, we don't know what he's going to do until he does it. So why can't that apply to Khalil Shakir? Why can't he be the next top 10 guy in the league. I'm not saying that he is or he isn't, but it's just you just never know until you know.
Right. Well, it depends on how this draft shakes out too, as well. That could have some effect on it. Don't we all agree?
It could, but I
Bills,
don't.
if the Bills get a doomsday, that pipe dream is over. And next
just-
week you'll be taking a pie in the
Yeah.
face.
Before we
No,
wrap it up, I
we'll
just
plan it
want
out.
to just make a little bit more of a case for my boy Mitchell. He seems to
Oh,
be
here we go.
relevant. He's relevant in the big games, guys. He's a national champion multiple times. He shows up in the big games.
So is Lad McConkey.
So don't be disappointed.
No,
Brian
like I
Thomas
said, we
never
said
got
this.
the chance.
Yeah, we'll say, we said it last week. If Mitchell is the pick, we're all going to root for him. We're all going to support him 100%. And hopefully there isn't any
He's not.
issues.
Hopefully he's not.
He's not. Hopefully he's not. And then we don't have to worry about
I would
it.
take Leggett there too, though, as well.
Yeah, he's an interesting prospect for sure. Okay. We're going to find out tonight, though.
Yeah.
Possibly. Unless they trade back, and then we got to wait till tomorrow.
Yeah,
All right.
great.
All right, one final prediction. We pick tonight, yes or no? And if we do, who is it? Who's your gut telling you who it is?
Say that again. You kind of cut
He's
out.
saying, "What
Do we-
are we picking tonight? And what's your gut feeling? And who are we
And-
picking if we are picking tonight?"
Oh, I've already said I think we're moving up, and it's BTG, Brian
Okay,
Thomas Jr.
Yeah,
Mike?
I'd stay picking. I'm going to go with Mitchell. Stay right where we're at.
I'm going to say same as Ronnie. We trade up to 20 or 21 and take Brian Thomas Jr.
Oh, you can't have the same prediction. Come on.
Hey, he's been my guy. He claimed
All right.
Glad. I claimed BTG.
I'm
Yeah.
picking two guys. I'd pick Leggett there too. So
Sure.
book it. That's our prediction.
McConkey's definitely my guy.
Yeah.
But I just don't see Bean trading back. I don't, because he's never done it that I can recall, at least not in the first round. So that's kind of why I'm leaning that way. But we're going to get out of here. The draft is getting set to start in the next few minutes. Super excited for this. Yeah, and really quick, I just also want to give a shout out to there's so many people, but go out there, find all of the former content creators from the former Buffalo Rumblings group. There's a whole bunch of them out there that are starting some new stuff. They've caught on with some other networks. Go check them out. Give them the support. We appreciate everybody's support here for us. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like, hit the subscribe. If you're on Facebook, same thing. Share it. Let everybody know. Also, we do have the podcast version over on currently with Apple Podcast and most every other podcast platform out there, with the exception of, unfortunately, Spotify. That's an issue we're working through. But yeah,
Eventually.
tell everybody about the podcast. We'll get that one resolved eventually. But check us out. Find us anywhere. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here and enjoy this draft. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills. Tell your friends.